What's good, Buckeye fans? Welcome into the Bucknuts Morning 5. I am Dave Biddle, joined by Dan Rubin. And as you were sleeping, a huge announcement, not official yet, but Sports Illustrated's Pete Thamel is reporting that Ohio State will hire former Penn State defensive line coach Larry Johnson as their new assistant coach. And it sounds like he will be defensive line coach at Ohio State. We'll also have another title. We're not sure what that will be yet. Maybe assistant head coach, maybe recruiting coordinator, maybe co-defensive coordinator, who knows. But our people at Penn State say he will have a second title. And I love this. I know Buckeye Nation loves this. I'm sure you love this. This guy is a recruiting stalwart. He can help Ohio State. Not that Urban Meyer was going to need that much help recruiting, but this is just a huge coup for Ohio State, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of replacing Mike Vrabel, I'm not sure you could get a better hire than this when it comes to his pedigree. Penn State's defensive line is, it speaks for itself, what they've produced over the years. His recruiting connections, I can just tell you, having worked the D.C. area as long as I have, if he wasn't the number one recruiter in D.C., he's in the top 2 or 3. So I just think it's a grand slam. I also leads me to believe, Dave, and we talked about this, that they're going to hire someone else with a big name, which I'm kind of thrilled about.
Yeah, I think we're still going to have that defensive coordinator hiring, and I think that's going to come by the end of the week. We said it yesterday on the Morning 5 that we think the 2 staff hirings will happen by the end of the week, and I love that Urban's not messing around here with Larry Johnson. As soon as I'm guessing as soon as Meyer found out that there was some bad blood, and Larry Johnson was offered to stay on Penn State staff with James Franklin. For those who don't know, Larry Johnson was pissed off that he was not hired the previous time when they hired Bill O'Brien, but he swallowed his pride, stayed on that staff. This time, he didn't even get an interview. Urban Meyer talks about wanting an angry team. I'll tell you what, Dan, he's got an angry coach coming to Columbus. And, this guy, I call him a good recruiter. He has been a very good defensive line coach, too. When you look at some of the guys he's produced off of that defensive line, Aaron Maben being a great example. I look at guys that overachieve in college and fall off the map in the NFL. I think that guy was probably coached up well in college. So this really is a home run. Again, not official, but I'm loving what I'm hearing here. And then switching gears real quick, I keep hearing the name for defensive coordinator. A lot of Buckeye fans are wanting Chuck Heater. And I'm a little skeptical. I don't think he would be a terrible hire. If Urban hires him, I'll get on board with that. But Chuck Heater was Marshall's defensive coordinator in 2013. Thundering Herd finished 35th in the country in total defense. Previous 2 years, he was at Temple. Now, he did as defensive coordinator. He was on Meyer's staff at Florida, but never as defensive coordinator. He was just co-defensive coordinators and safeties coach Meyer's final year at Florida in 2010, kind of Everett Withers role. Plus, Chuck Heater's a Michigan man. Now, he was a running back at Michigan. He's coached there. Was an assistant coach at Ohio State under Earl Bruce for 3 seasons at 85 to 87, so he has been a Buckeye as well. But I'm kind of hoping it's somebody that we're not really thinking of right now, Dan, and not Chuck Heater. I'm just not sold on Chuck Heater at this point.
Yeah, I think you hit some good points on Heater there, and also I'd like someone more in the Tom Herman mold, maybe a little bit younger, a little bit more new age thinking, outside the box. I think adding Johnson, if there was one thing about Johnson that maybe didn't fit the profile, is that he's a little bit further on in his career. I'm not sure I'm on board with Heater either.
Yeah, both men in their early 60s, both Larry Johnson and Chuck Heater. And if you're not a subscriber to Bucknuts, now's a great time to sign up with all the coaching changes. Signing day fast approaching. Get on Bucknuts, try our free trial. And but Dan, if people are subscribed,
big day.
There is plenty going on today on Bucknuts.
Yeah, definitely big day ahead. Obviously, we're going to have continuing coverage of the Larry Johnson edition and what that means for the rest of the staff. This is obviously a big step forward. Even though you already do read the boarding house, I'm sure you're going to want to read it today. I have an item in there from a source in the NFL on Brad Roby that I think everyone will find. Yeah, sources say a lot. And in this case, Dave and I try and predict. We said 2 pages guaranteed just on the Roby item, which should be fun to toy with. And then obviously Jay Book will be back today with Outside Columbus. And then look forward to this around 1 o'clock. The final top 247 for the class of 2014 is going to be in there today. Obviously, with the roll call Ohio State had at the U.S. Army All-American game, let's hope those guys made a great impression and some of the guys individually moved up. I don't think it's going to be enough to move them up in the 24/7 Sports Composite. I think they're locked in at number 2, but definitely something to look for later today.